The 5th of January 2023, New Year holidays in Russia keep going, and while the people here are mostly traveling to Moscow, Sochi, Kazan, St. Petersburg, vice versa, from St. Petersburg I came to the town of Veliky Novgorod, or Novgorod the Great, one of the oldest towns in Russia, founded in 859, one of the oldest towns of the country, where in 862 Rurik came here. Today it's an amazing, yes, cold, minus 14 degrees Celsius, which is about 9 Fahrenheit, but very sunny day. And in this sunny January day, I'm gonna take you for a walk around the historic parts of Novgorod the Great. My name is Sergey Baklikov, you're watching Baklikov Live. Enjoy walking. The railway station of Veliky Novgorod, Novgorod the Great, Russia. That's how I came here. The fastest way to come from St. Petersburg to Novgorod the Great. Only 2, sometimes 3 hours, and you're here. The square before the railway terminal and the monument to the great Prince of Novgorod, Alexander Nevsky, who lived here in 13th century, 800 years ago. Alexander Nevsky, Alexander Yaroslavich, what means he is the son of Prince Yaroslav. They are the descendants of Rurik, Prince Rurik, the Varangian who came to Russia in 862. Rurik, the founder of Russia and the beginner of the dynasty of rulers of Ruriks, the dynasty which has ruled Russia for 700 years. Before the dynasty of Romanovs. So now I'm beginning to walk right from the railway terminal. Novgorod the Great is pretty awesome for traveling for a one-day trip. You may come here in the morning to take a walk and then to return the same day. It's also pretty comfortable to walk here starting from the railway terminal, because as soon as you're coming from St. Petersburg or from somewhere else, all you need is just to walk straight forwards and you will step into the Veliky Novgorod Kremlin, one of the oldest Kremlins, fortresses in Russia, founded in 1044 at least. You see, it's pretty comfortable. Just need to walk all the way straight forwards from the railway terminal. It's the boulevard, which is called Voskresensky. Let me tell you that in Russia, boulevards, it's not the same as boulevards in the West. Here, boulevards, it's when the streets, the road part separated with an alley, usually with such a trees. It's so beautiful here in the summertime. If you remember my live streams and videos from Veliky Novgorod in the summertime, it's all in a green leaves and old trees here. But even now It's pretty beautiful too. Veliky Novgorod, Novgorod the Great. But back in the days, in 9th century, when it was just founded, it was called just Novgorod. By the way, now Veliky Novgorod, you never mess up with Nizhny Novgorod. Veliky Novgorod, where we are now, and Nizhny Novgorod are two totally different towns of Russia. Novgorod, what means actually the new city, Novy Gorod. Well, not new anymore. Now it's vice versa, one of the oldest towns of Russia. Novgorod, it is located on the bank of Volkhov River. Look, where St. Petersburg is, there's the Gulf of Finland. Neva River comes out of the Gulf of Finland, and on the bank of Neva River, St. Petersburg is founded. Neva River flows into Lake Ladoga, the second largest lake in Russia. So the largest after Lake Baikal. And from Lake Baikal, there comes out another river. It's called Volkhov. And that's where we are now. So, historically, on the bank of Volkhov, there was founded the town of Ladoga, just named after the lake. And if to be very, painstakingly correct, then technically the very first capital of Russia was the town of Ladoga. That's where Rurik came first. And Rurik, he was a Varangian. Varangian, it's actually the Scandinavians which lived in the northwestern parts of Russia. But Ladoga was the capital of Russia for only 2 years. But the real big town, Novgorod, it was a really big town. And for several centuries, it was the real capital of the country. The thing is, the Ilmen, yes, and look, Volkhov actually flows into Lake Ilmen, which is not far from here. And Ilmen tribes, they had tensions between each other back in 9th century. And that's why they decided to call up Rurik to be some kind of manager, that to be independent in terms of all the tensions, all the argues that used to be between different tribes here. And they got into the agreement with Rurik. Rurik came here with his associates Askold and Dir. And while Rurik came to Ladoga and Novgorod, Askold and Dir, they moved forwards, way more to the south, and they came to the town of Kiev. And while Rurik here, he was invited by the residents of Novgorod, Askold and Dir came to Kiev, and actually they are taking the authority there. And actually, when Rurik came here, that is considered, that was the beginning of Russia. And look, already from the very beginning, Russia started to be developed in two ways. In the way of the, how to say, democracy, and it was like republic, the Novgorod Republic, and the way of monarchy. Because in Kiev there was a monarchy. And later we will see the monument to Millennium of Russia here inside of Kremlin. And there's a very interesting monument where even in the monuments we will see the symbols as of like the republic, like a people's authority, as a symbol of monarchy. The movie theater called Russia. This is a very quiet town. Now the population of Novgorod's about 220,000 residents. It's pretty quiet here, especially in the historic parts. I think it's a very great place to retire for those who are living in St. Petersburg. It's always great here, and in the winter and in the summertime. Yeah, I never told you that actually it's only 200 kilometers from St. Petersburg southeast. So when we are here, St. Petersburg is in 200 kilometers northwest. Yeah, it's only 2 hours by car or by suburban train. By car, especially if you drive through M11 toll roads. M11, the toll roads from St. Petersburg to Moscow, which is exactly goes through Novgorod the Great. So in fact, Novgorod the Great is in between of Moscow and St. Petersburg. Yeah, like closer to St. Petersburg. But between Moscow and St. Petersburg. The real estate is relatively not that expensive in Veliky Novgorod. I mean, compared to big cities. Even here in the historic city center, the price of the square meter vary from $1,000 to $1,500. Let's say in St. Petersburg now, it's at least $3,500 per square meter. Novgorod. Imagine that Novgorod is 800 years older than St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg was founded in 1703, so almost 1,000 years after Novgorod already was here. And back then there wasn't St. Petersburg, there wasn't Leningrad region, Leningradskaya Oblast, what means St. Petersburg region, because St. Petersburg was renamed back from Leningrad to St. Petersburg, but Leningrad region is still Leningrad region. There wasn't Leningrad region, there wasn't St. Petersburg, it was all the Novgorod lands, the Republic of Novgorod. There was the time when there was the time when the territory of Novgorod, the Republic of Novgorod, was from nowadays Urals and all the way to nowadays St. Petersburg. From Urals to the northwest. It's amazing how progressive the people of Novgorod used to be already back then. I remember how I was absolutely amazed with that when I was at school and I was learning the history. The majority of the population in Novgorod the Great, they were or craftsmen or the merchants. And here they had a very great economical connections with Western Europe, because look at the map. There goes the Gulf of Finland, which is a part of Baltic Sea. Then Niva goes out of the Gulf of Finland. Niva comes into Lake Ladoga, and from Lake Ladoga there goes Volkhov. So it's a good water connection with the Europe. It was here already back then. And you know, the first codex of laws, the prototype of that was born here in Novgorod. Back then it was called Ruskaya Pravda, the Russian truth. Russian truth, yes. Here in Novgorod was the first codex where they tried to like categorize and to be certain in terms of what you can and what you can't to do, like the real codex. Also, people here never loved the tortures. Even if they had to make the death penalties here, they are never made to work that out without giving it a chance to reconsider it once again before the execution, like to make sure that the verdict was not taken just while the blood is hot. I mean, while, I don't know, they were angry or so. But even if they had to well, okay, they had to complete the death penalty, it wasn't anything like hanging out or whatever, guillotine and stuff like that, but they were just throwing the man into the water. And what's interesting, if the person was able to somehow get off the water, so I mean, it was considered as okay, it's maybe the wish of the gods. And it was a freedom for the person. Already about 1,000 years ago, the people of Novgorod, they were able to write on the territory of Novgorod region. So far was found as one of the oldest birch skin, if I can say so, with the scripts. And many of those scripts, it's just letters, and ordinary letters, like from the guy to the girl. So it shows that even the regular people were kind of educated. This is the main square of the town of Veliky Novgorod, located in between of the Kremlin and the administration of Novgorod region. By the way, you maybe noticed that on the way from railway terminal to Kremlin, however, we see mostly 1950s, Stalinist, and 1960s residential buildings. Well, that's an echo of the war. I'm talking about World War II. Unfortunately, most of the town of Veliky Novgorod was destroyed. It's so good that the Kremlin was not, but all around the town of Novgorod, it was destroyed. And it was rebuilt in 1950s. And in 1950s, so-called neoclassical, also known as Stalinist architecture, prevailed. In 2023. I'm really looking forward to check out this place in the evening, a little bit later, when I will start my live stream. The main Christmas tree, full of lights, and the monument to Vladimir Lenin, the leader of world proletariat and the founder of USSR, the founder of the Soviet Union. I also gonna take you to the park. There's the park, and I'm always going to that park because always there I'm trying to give my respect to, I'm giving my respect to Sergei Rachmaninov, one of the most significant Russian composers ever. And the monument to Sergei Rachmaninov is here for the reason that he was born in Novgorod region, not in Novgorod the Great itself, but in Novgorod region. Then he moved to St. Petersburg, then to Moscow, and after all he lived in Beverly Hills, California, in the United States. Amazing. This is the first time ever I'm in Veliky Novgorod in the winter by day. It's such an awesome weather. I was here several times in the winter time, but the weather wasn't that good at all. It's so beautiful. As now in the winter I see, as in the summer. In the summer, if you remember, it's all green. You may notice that the communal service of Veliky Novgorod working pretty good. Everywhere we go, we see the snow cleared off and removed. Veliky Novgorod. I've heard it many times from some local people that I know that most of people here are really loves their town, quite beautiful town of Veliky Novgorod. They are patriots. The monument to Sergei Rachmaninov. He's staying here, leaning on the bench. There are the speakers, and in the summertime, usually here all the time sounds the music of Sergei Rachmaninov. Sergei Rachmaninov, I really recommend you to listen to his music. It's amazing. It can turn your imagination about the classical music on big time. Many people are considering that the classical music is boring or something, but if you will listen to Sergei Rachmaninov, let's say Piano Concerto number 2, I recommend you to start with Piano Concerto number 2. I think that most of you will be amazed. With Piano Concerto number 2. All right, and now it's time for us to go to the Kremlin, one of the oldest Kremlins of Russia. It was founded built supposedly in 1044, and there inside on the territory of Veliky Novgorod Kremlin there's the Orthodox Church, the Russian Orthodox Church, Saint Sophia Cathedral, which is the oldest Russian Orthodox Church in Russia. Now, this is the old Russian Kremlin at its best. Kremlin, in fact, that's the fortress. Every Kremlin is a fortress But not every fortress is a Kremlin. Kremlin is a special kind of fortresses. Well, first of all, architecturally, an old Russian fortresses. Most of them are built on the hills next to the river. This one is not the exception. It is built on the high hill on the bank of Volkhov River. The total distance of the walls here is almost 1500 meters. So it's like almost 1 mile, considering that 1 mile is 1800 meters. Most of old Russian towns, they were founded on the banks of the rivers, because back in the days, the rivers were the main transportation areas, arteria. So to make it comfortable to travel just by the rivers from one town to another, the Russian people built the Kremlins on the bank of the river, and the fortress was needed for the defense. Well, at first you need to somehow reach the river, then you need to climb on the hill, and then you need to try to climb on the tall, or should I say high, walls of Kremlin, while you see those holes, while they are shooting you from those holes, being like kind of safe. It's been a while I saw the sunset these days. Not many sunny days in St. Petersburg, where I live now. In the winter, the sun is not that often comes to the city in the winter. But I know that being 200 kilometers to the southeast, Veliky Novgorod having way more of sunny days than St. Petersburg in the winter time. Veliky Novgorod Kremlin. I see now this is a great natural snow hill, and the kids enjoying their time there. Cool. That's cool. Same as most Kremlins in Russia, the Veliky Novgorod Kremlin is opened most of time. Well, it's only closed at night, but in the daytime and in the evening it is opened, and the entrance is free. The Philharmonic Hall of Veliky Novgorod, named after whom? Of course, named after Sergei Rachmaninov, whose monument there in the park. All right, here in the center of Kremlin, inside Kremlin, two of its most significant objects: Saint Sophia Cathedral, the oldest Russian Orthodox church. The construction started in 1045, finished in 1055, and the monument to Millennium of Russia. The monument to Millennium of Russia, so it's 1862. The sculptor Mikhail Shemyakin. We'll get closer, but first let's take a walk to Saint Sophia Cathedral. Saint Sophia Cathedral. Over 1,000 years. The architecture of Saint Sophia Cathedral actually represents an old Russian architecture. It symbolizes the strong Russian man in the iron helmet, staying on the high hill of the river, and he is proud of his town. And during the time peaceful, but always ready to defend his land. The clock tower. Wow. Back in the days, here was the budget of Veliky Novgorod. You remember I told you that Novgorod was the Republic of Novgorod. And here was some kind of democracy, the People's Council, so-called Vichy. Vichy, that's the council, the People's Council. They were ringing the bell, and all the people were coming to the square of Kremlin, and they discussed all their matters, starting from the simple administrative matters to the criminal ones. incredible. And now to the monument to Millennium of Russia. In 1862, that was the year of the Millennium of Russia. The competition for the monument to the Millennium of Russia won the sculptor Mikhail Shemyakin. Look, his composition, his idea is really interesting. Look, the monument consisted of three parts. The lower part looks like the lower parts of the bell. It is symbolize the how to say, the People's Council, the authority. Okay, you remember I told you that right from the very beginning Russia started to develop in two ways politically. The way of republic, where the power was in the hands of people, and in the same time in the way of monarchy, starting from Kiev when Ascolt and Dir came there. And that's where here we can see the orb. Now it's not that obvious it's an orb under the snow. In the third part, that's the cross. It shows that almost from the very beginning of the history of Russia, the main religion of Russia was the Christianity. If I'm not mistaken, here is 169 images of the most significant people in the history of Russia. You see that starting from Rurik. This is Rurik, the founder of Russia and the beginner of the dynasty of Ruriks, the dynasty of rulers of Russia, which has ruled Russia for 700 years.
И крещение Руси. Женщина несет новорожденного ребенка для крещения, а старому славянину Владимиру Николаевичу.
Before the Christianity, Russia was into paganism. All right, and now it's time to go to the bank of Volkhov River. Volkhov. There is an awesome bell tower. The bell tower and I remember how in the summertime I was taking you up to the wall. Now there's such a walkaway. You buy the tickets and you're walking all along the wall. It seems now it's not available for visitors, maybe due to the security measures. All right. Oh, come on. Look, now, if any of you ever wanted to know how is the real Russia looks like, well, probably this is one of the best places to show you how is the real Russia looks like. I mean, historically. In the summertime, that's the beach. Wow, awesome sunset today. The sunset at 4:27 p.m. today. I'm surprised Volkhov is not frozen. Whoa. So Volkhov here goes in direction of Ilmen, Lake Ilmen. In fact, Volkhov River is in between of Lake Ladoga and Lake Ilmen. So according to the history, like the most popular version, it's the Ilmen tribes, and old Russian tribes which used to live around Lake Ilmen. They are invited or called up the Varangians in the head of Rurik to come and manage their matters. So once again, now look at the map and you will see the Baltic Sea. Then check out the Gulf of Finland. From the Gulf of Finland there goes Neva River. Neva River flows into Lake Ladoga. Another river, which is Volkhov River, where we are now, goes out of Lake Ladoga, and from here goes to Lake Ilmen. In the summertime, already for several times, I was taking you on the boat ride. Pedestrian creek. Oh, I see the moon there. In the summertime, here is the piers and the boats taking a ride like every 30 minutes. Oh, windy, windy, windy. TV center of Novgorod. Wow, can you imagine? We see now what's more than 11 centuries saw Rurik. Now the sunset is beautiful, but remember what a beautiful sunsets here in the summertime. I still can't forget that so reddish, orangish, and yellowish sunsets. And look at that arcade of the merchant yards, Gostinny Dvor. Yes, imagine what it was 9, 10, 100 years ago. 2,000 merchants lived in Novgorod. The merchants, the craftsmen. I think everything was like everything was easy on carts with the boats, with the vessels of the merchants from all over, making the trades with the people of Novgorod. Of those big history days. Chilling on the embankments, and there's a great 18th century kind of ship. This is embankment which is called Alexander Nevsky embankment. What a sunset. Now that's mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. I began feeling cold. But you know, it's worth that. What I see worth a feeling of cold. These parts of the city, it's called the trading sites, because here was the trades, and that part where is the Kremlin on the other bank, it is called Sofiyska or Sophia's, because that's where is Saint Sophia Cathedral is located. And that is the Yaroslav Gorodisha. It's like the Yaroslav town, but it's called not Gorod in Russian language, but Gorodisha. Gorodisha is usually like to say that it was the town. Historically, it was like a, you know, like a court. By the way, I've noticed that I see many people, and even here in Veliky Novgorod today too, as the internal tourism now booming in Russia. We saw that yet in the summer. Many churches and old churches. As far as I can see, little by little goes their renovation. Incredible. The renovation going right now here. I can hear the works goes even now, though most of Russia now on a New Year holidays until the 9th of January. here I would love to finish this amazing video from Veliky Novgorod, Novgorod the Great, in the winter 2023. Thank you all for watching, and special thanks to the members of my channel, thankful to whom such videos from all over Russia are possible. Comment, like, and subscribe. Sergey Baklikov, Baklikov Live, Novgorod the Great, Russia with love and peace. See you.